We're in front of the firepower, in front of the sorcerer, because I wanted to show you a couple of things. These machines were stuck out here because I wanted the 3 other working pinball machines, the Space Shuttle, the Theatre of Magic and the 8-Ball Champ, all working in the arcade. I left these 2 here because they both had issues. They've still got some issues, but they had primary issues in terms of I wasn't able to play either of them. So I want to show you what I did just to fix that, just a few tips, guys. Let's get into these 2 machines. What was the first thing going on? Well, the first thing with firepower, there was a few things in fact. The first thing was that it just wouldn't start, and I had the boards repaired by Joey a while ago, a long time ago now, and they were okay and the game played for a while, and then it just slowly started doing some weird stuff. It would like reset occasionally, like during a game, and then I would just have problems starting the machine. Now you will hear that the common thing around, if the game doesn't start, especially if you've just bought one from another home, one of these older style, is that you've got to make sure you've got the right number of balls in the machine before you can kick it off. And of course you need to make sure it's on free play if you want to just start it without using the coin mechanism. So they're the usual 2 things that you would check. Beyond that though, if things still don't start, then there's other problems, of course, and it could be a myriad of things, but I'm going to explain the one that I had or came across, and how I came to that conclusion. So I guess the first thing is, guys, is that when you're trying to troubleshoot something like this, all the switches on the machine effectively you can access, you can test them all. And of course the button on the front is just one of the many switches that's on, on the playfield and around the machine. So in the firepower manual, you can actually look up and see the full set of numbers against each switch on the machine, so you can get a bit of an idea of which switches are what and what number they are. And then it's just a matter of finding in the manual also the switch matrix, and in the switch matrix it has all the switches and it shows all the numbers next to it, and then you just need to look at it and try to find some sort of logic of what's going on. Now I knew that the button didn't work, and then after a bit of testing, I realised also that the ball, when it was dropped down outside of the trough and dropped down through the centre here, it wasn't being kicked out either. So I knew that switch wasn't working, and I thought, that's unusual. It's not likely going to be the switches themselves, guys. And that's the thing. Initially you sort of think, oh, must be something wrong with the button. You check all that. But then there's another one gone. So what I did is I put the machine into test mode, and we then tested the switches individually. And look, why don't we do that, guys? Why don't I just show you exactly what I did there so that you know sort of how easy it is to test something like this. Let's take a look. Okay guys, I'm going to put it into test. And the first test, of course, we hit this. We can test all the displays. And it goes manual until you flick that switch over, and then it starts going through. You see the displays here? You can see them counting over. If we go to advance to the next test, we're now on all the light tests, and of course this is how you can go around and check all your bulbs on your playfield. The next test is the solenoid test. So we're going to go around and trigger off all the solenoids. And of course one of those solenoids will be the one that fires off all the sounds. One of them will be the ones that fires off here to get the ball up into this place here. I've forgotten what the hell it's called, but anyway. But you can see that's bringing out the ball, and they're all firing off, so that looks pretty good. So let's go to the next test. And so now we're in. Oh, that's a nice sound. Listen to that. Now we're in the switch test. So this was the one that I needed to figure out what was going on. So again, remember I knew the number on the matrix of the switch matrix, this one being out and the one on the front. So I just went around and sort of tested some other switches. So you can see up on the screen here, it's currently got 0357. If I touch this one, it's got now 17. So that switch is 17, that one, and then we've got 18, 19, there's 21, 22, oops, that's interesting, 21, 22, 23. That's almost flicked back to 17, didn't it? So I wonder if that's a little bit touchy, that one. This is the thing, this is how you can test all your switches. And I haven't done this actually across all my machines so far, and I need to do that. This is all going to be part of, another sequence of videos once I settle down on all the buying stuff, where I can actually get down into each machine and start really looking at it more carefully. So when I did this test, I found that 17 was out, I think 18 was okay, and 19 was out. And there was another combination over here, I can't remember now, I don't have the switch matrix in front of me, but you'll be able to see it on the screen. And it was just by working that out, I realised that effectively there was 2 rows in the matrix that were not triggering. So for something like that, typically it's going to mean that it's some sort of issue either with a short or something on the wiring, or the wiring itself, or the header, the connector onto the board, the header itself on the board, or it's something to do with the chips on the board. So it's sort of working your way back to figure out what it could be based on that. So what I did find, let's get in behind the back glass, take a look. Okay, let's get in behind here. All right guys, so what I found in here, a couple of things. One is that in the manual you can find out where those particular switches for that matrix, where that comes through to, and it was coming through to this plug here. Now previously I've had problems with the one above. I can't recall which switches they related to, but I did have problems with that. So I did actually swap the connector out. I actually repinned the connector and made up a new one. And that seemed to have helped for a while, but then I got this other problem. There's also this little guy up the top here, which is part of the blanking circuit, they call it. And that's actually pretty key and pretty important, and it was also pretty loose previously. But what I found anyway was if I put pressure, a little bit of pressure on this particular connector to the left, and then press the button at the same time, I could start the game. And then the switches would stay live for a bit, and then they would just die again, obviously, when I released it and from the pressure. So you know straight away from that, it's either the connector or there's something wrong with the header itself, because clearly it is working once it's been pressed over. So I took the boards out, and by the way, Joey did a lot of work on this previously to get it all nice, including the interconnector here has all been fully replaced. That's a huge pain in the ass, that one, and this can cause a lot of grief. So that's actually been fixed, and everything else was resolved by Joey at JoeMac. But so anyway, so I took it out, comes out in 2 things, so you don't want to take that interconnector off. And I checked the back, and sure enough, it looked to me like there was cold solder joints. So they're quite hard to find, the old cold solder joints, but again, the wiggling backwards and forwards on these connectors, it just moves that header, those header pins to a degree where it just starts cracking the solder, and the solder's old. So yeah, and Joey didn't go through and bulletproof all that. I didn't ask him to do that. He was just merely getting it fixed, and it did work actually initially for a while. So it was just a little bit more heat, and that's all you need, to cut the circuit. So I took it out, I soldered it all up, reflowed it, put it back in, and fired it up. And the 2 red lights on here came on, which typically signify that the game is not booting at all. That's the time, especially when you're not professional at soldering and stuff, that you freak out. And I certainly did that. I absolutely freaked out. I thought, what the hell? All I've done is just solder these headers, and now it's not firing up at all. But then I remembered that I've seen that problem before, and that was related to that blanking pin. And even though I changed the header, I thought, or the connector rather, I thought maybe the header itself has a similar problem, and once I've obviously plugged it all back in again, I've actually tripped it. And I tell you what, it's those sorts of things that once you know how it sort of works a little bit more, once you played around with these, the problems start becoming a little less like a freak out when they happen, because you can sort of think, okay, logically, what has happened here? Because really, I've only just changed the solder here. Maybe I stuffed the solder up? Sure, let's check that. But then that also came to mind. So anyway, I checked that, and sure enough, the solder on that was actually even worse. And interestingly, it was really strange. The solder just did not want to stick when I was actually doing it. It was just floating around over the top of it. It was crazy. But anyway, I managed to reflow all of those, and I rechecked my work on here, and this was all good. There was one. It wasn't causing problems, but I thought I could do it a little bit better, so I touched that up. Put it back in, guys, and bam. It's now rock solid, or at least rock solid in terms of solving that particular problem. So I'm really happy that it was nothing more than that, that it was no, I was pretty confident all the chips were all good because, Joey done those recently. I mean, it's not to say that those can still be impacted by other power problems and bits and pieces you might have with these machines, but I just wanted to share that with you because, again, as I said, now that I know a little bit more about these machines, some of the stuff is becoming just a little less daunting, really, to fix. All right, let's button this up. Okay, the other thing I'll quickly show you is that inside, and of course, when you're under here, I checked all the switches first of all, just in case it was, one of the switches for the kick out. But when I was under here, I thought I need to fix up some stuff that had been bothering me for a while. One was that the speaker I had the old speaker was still there because I couldn't get the horrible screw things I had. So I got that out because that original speaker was completely blown out, and got the new one properly mounted. And also, I don't know if you can see that, I'll just move the rig in. Down the bottom there you can see where the on-off switch is. Well, that actually in this machine had been mounted up on here on the wood, so you had to reach inside the cab to turn it on and off. Pain in the butt. Would have been back in the day where the operators didn't want people turning the machine on and off on location, because of course you can do that, can't you, with the power button being accessible. Just go around to your local arcade and turn all their pinball machines off. Anyway, so I fixed that up while I was there. And again, those little things, they just do take time. And it's just a matter of sort of carrying on one thing at a time, going back, fixing stuff up, and slowly getting the machine where you want it. All right, let's put the glass back on. Okay, let's have a quick game. Oh. Wow. I don't believe it. Guys, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Wow. Oh, I gotta laugh. I have got to laugh. Should I push this again? Is it still quirky? Wow. Is it something else? I can't believe it. Oh! Oh, wow. Guys, you know what it is, don't you? I didn't put the 3 balls back in. After telling you exactly that. Gosh, that's how you can get just, you start jumping to conclusions, thinking it's something else. Geez, I was really worried there. I thought my fix hadn't been fixed. After explaining all of that, but of course I took the balls out when I lifted the, there they go. Oh, can you feel my pain? Can you feel my pain and anguish? Oh my God, okay. Button it back up again. It's hilarious. Okay, so now let's try, please. Ah, how about that? Whew. So yeah, guys, have a bit of a quick game, nothing too serious. I mean, there's a lot more to be done here. Like these flippers are a little weak. Got to get the table angle a little bit steeper. Still a little slow, I think. We can go faster than that. But it's such a good game. Just pure pinball goodness. Fantastic sounds. Oh, bit of glass chips flew out of there. That was from the days where the original glass had been broken. I bought it with a piece of plexi on top as a replacement. And that plexi's over here actually on the saucer. Oh, this one here is a known problem with the switch, and it might pop out. I did notice that when I was testing it, and come on. Hit it into tilt. Come on. I think it's not. Yeah, that's definitely one that I already know. Geez, what a demo. What a demo. I should get that fixed, and I shall also go throughout the rest of the table. Look, there we go. There it is. It's just something, yeah, just got to clean that switch up or just adjust a little bit more. Oh, well, it's giving me my last ball. So. Oh, look at that. It went straight back in there and then came straight back out, which is, yeah. These are all the little randomness things that you have to deal with. But nothing that just some dedicated time and maintenance will resolve. And I've said it before, but these machines very much are like an old car, right? And just like an old car, sometimes you need to fix a whole load of things, and then it's all good for a while, and then you start getting gremlins back again. But yeah, this is awesome when it's all working. I've got a couple of globes out under the firepower bumpers too there, haven't I? Yeah, so yeah, plenty to be done. Oh, I've got another ball. What am I? Oh, that's interesting. Two. Actually, I think I did notice this too when I was doing my testing. I thought, oh, it might be because of, why is that? Actually. With that one drain, let's just make sure that it's counting. It's gone to 3, but I've already had 2 balls. If it was on 5 balls, then it should have been counting up to 5, right? Just when you thought you solved one thing. Yeah, we've still got work to do, that's for sure. Let it go down. See if it's going to finish up. Yeah, I think it will. Either that or it was got it set up on the bonus extra balls. I might have it on too easy. It was basically set back to factory. So anyway, guys, that's firepower. At least it's now working. A little bit more work.